If you are looking to hit a new gymnastics skill, increase your Olympic lifting PBs, or just generally get better at exercising quickly, then you are likely going to have to navigate what we term the leverage trap. So in this video, I'm going to explain exactly what the leverage trap is, how it may be showing up for you, and then how, most importantly, we can navigate it. Because the worst thing that we can do is quit right before it gets good. So how may the leverage trap be showing up for you? Well, it could be you having a regress in movement that you previously hit. So whilst I was learning my double unders, I remember that I could consistently hit a few sets. And then a week later, I would regress and have to go back to single, double. And I could barely do that the first time. And I got so frustrated having to whip myself, like getting shin splints from practicing so frequently, and it was just infuriating. It could be showing up with the weight on the scales not moving, even though that you are tracking. You've been in a deficit for a couple of weeks and the number on that scale has not. It could be you having to redo your bar muscle up drills again. It's like you've been doing them on repeat, and it is getting better, it's just not quite there yet. And you're like, when is it going to get better? When am I going to finally get my bar muscle up? Or it could be hitting the same PB after a cycle of work on your timing, on your technique, and you're just frustrated at this point. So what is going on? Well, it could be that you're navigating what we call the leverage trap, or it's also referred to as the valley of despair in Atomic Habits if you've read that book. And it's essentially the gap between what we expect to happen and what is actually happening. So what we expect to happen whenever we pick up a new skill or get a new job or whatever it is, we expect that as we put effort in, that we're going to start to see returns, and that it's going to progress linearly over time. So this is our expected progress. When in reality, unfortunately, our progress doesn't track linearly. It's an exponential curve. And so at the start, we have to put an outsized amount of effort in, resources, time, effort, money, in order to start to see some payoff. And I liken this to a job. When you first get a job, it's overwhelming in the first couple of weeks. Everything's new, you're trying to meet new people, you're trying to think about what you need to even wear. Everything's just like, oh my God, what is happening? 2 years down the line, somebody asks you to do something that you got asked on day one, takes you 5 minutes. And suddenly you have all this extra bandwidth to do everything else. Well, that's exactly the same as what's going on down here. You think that hopefully if I start doing bar muscle up drills today, I will start to see progress tomorrow. When unfortunately, now we've got to learn, okay, the strength for it. We've got to learn the timing for it. We've got to learn the technique. We've got to learn all these things in order to get the payoff. So the bigger the gap between where we are currently and what we expect to be happening is when doubt and everything starts to set in, as I'm about to cover off. So why does this phase matter? Well, as I just said, it could be that you're starting to doubt yourself. Am I made for gymnastics? Am I meant to hit a new PB? I'm just the mum now, or I've just got to focus on my career. I can't do this. All these things start going through your mind. You start to get frustrated. You start taking it out potentially on loved ones, and you don't want to be doing that. You're like being short at work because of everything falling apart potentially, or falling apart in your mind in the gym. And then worst of all, you're about to quit right before it gets good. So many people quit and restart the whole process because they just didn't stay in it for an extra couple of weeks. So why do timelines vary? Well, everyone enters on this curve at different points. So we all know that person in the gym who's an absolute gun and they train so infrequently, it's actually annoying, but they've got what's called the leverage payoff. So they've done enough, or they've spent enough time previously in this leverage trap, building their base, building their solid foundations, building their technique, building their strength, that now they don't have to do too much. And think about this in an investment standpoint. The first time you invest a few £1,000 or dollars, there's not much interest coming in. Okay, so we're just building and accruing wealth. Say we've got $1 million in there. Well, suddenly you're now getting a lot more investment and you get a lot more interest, and you're getting a huge amount of return for very little effort. And that's what starts to happen up here if you've put enough investment in. But the reason that timelines vary is they could have come in from a different sport. They could have come from powerlifting, so they've got the strength, or they've done gymnastics previously, so they've got good body awareness. Whereas others have focused on building their family, having a career, found sport later in life. There's really no way of knowing where somebody else is, so there's no point comparing yourself on this journey. Your journey is your journey, and all you're going to do is cause yourself a lot of pain and suffering unnecessarily by looking up here at somebody who's done all of this previously. But if you were with them when they were here, you would make more sense, right? And we've got to just go through this on ourselves. Like, but there's no fixed timeline. There's no amount of silver bullet or anything to speed this up. It's just sometimes you've just got to do the work. And I know that sucks to hear, but it just is. You've got to do the reps, put in the effort, and it will then start to pay off. And this is the payoff zone up here. This is where we want to get to. So what can you focus on whilst you're in the valley of despair? I mean, it's a great name, isn't it? It makes you really want to continue pushing towards your goals. But if we appreciate the art of learning, so give yourself some grace. You're doing something outside of your comfort zone and you're trying to make yourself a better person. So whatever it may be, it could be getting that new job, a new relationship, building towards a new skill, whatever you want to appreciate the art of learning, because the person that likes to walk will walk further than the person that just wants to walk to the destination. So learn to enjoy what you're doing and become process orientated as opposed to outcome orientated. You hear it all the time and it's like, it didn't ever land with me because I'm like, well, no, I'm just a task orientated person. And I was like, yeah, but then the goals always shift and then you burn out and you get annoyed at yourself. Or you can just go like, oh, it's quite cool. I'm actually like learning how to do this thing and I've got slightly more strength here and I'm getting slightly higher on my kip here. That's what we should be looking at. Acknowledge other progress within your skills, lifts, time, relationships, whatever you feel. Basically, there are other things going on in your life, and where you're feeling this frustration is probably in a small facet of it. And so that don't let it bleed into everything else. Like when you knock a cup of coffee over and it seeps into everything, it doesn't need to happen. You can just block it off, right? Normally, when people get frustrated, it's normally at a few different things. So just focus on what is going well and acknowledge that this isn't going as well as you'd like, but it doesn't have to ruin everything else. And then lastly, ensure you're doing the right thing. So within your training, you should still be seeing these micro progressions, right? So as long as we're not just navigating this blindly and we're just walking without a map and we're just like, oh my God, there's never going to be progress. As long as you're seeing some form of like, okay, I've done this, now I'm going to be doing this, now I'm going to be doing this. It gives you those like micro achievements to be working towards, as opposed to just being overwhelmed and being like, I'm never going to get there. So if you have been working towards a skill or a PB or something for a while and you aren't seeing any real progress or feedback, then potentially you aren't doing the right thing. And it is time to start looking towards, okay, do I need to get help here? Like, it doesn't have to be from us, just someone from your gym. But ultimately, you should be seeing these micro wins. And if you're not, reach out to somebody. Hopefully, this has normalized the valley of despair that we all must navigate in order to get a new skill. And every time you learn a new skill, you will be restarting. And that's okay. It's the point of learning, right? If we learn to love it, we don't mind being in this because we know this payoff's coming. It's gonna come. Just don't quit.